All right, we're live.
Hey everybody, welcome to I'd Rather Be Motivated, episode 12, I believe. Here with David Fleming, and I am Scott O Green. When I'm not here on I'd Rather Be Drawings YouTube page, you can find me on Instagram at Mr. Green Draws, mr.greendraws. I am in the middle of my 100 days of making comics, and today is, I kind of lost count. I don't have my paper. I believe it's day 83. So just got a few left. How about you, David? Where can we find you when you're not here on YouTube?
Hey, what's up, guys? So you can find me, Mr. David Fleming, on Facebook or on my Store Envy shop, and Art of Mr. Fleming on Instagram. And then I always like to say this now that I have this rolling, but usually there's a link tree up on my Instagram that will send you everywhere else, so it makes it easy for you. So Art of Mr. Fleming. It's the easiest way to find me.
Awesome. I really need to get that link tree set up. You told me about that last time, and I see my note here from the last time we talked, and I still haven't gotten that one done. But
yeah, I found out about it, and I geek and cheese about things a little bit. Like, I was like, what? Because it's like that thing on Instagram of just like only ever getting to have that one. Like, that's the one thing that kind of gets me. Like, man, I wish I could link people other places, and I love, like, and you can just add as many as you want and all kinds of stuff to it.
yeah, I can't see the downside. But I do want to say what's up to who we got in the chat. Hey, Red. What's up, Ace? Glad to see you guys there. I do have a question for you. We're having a little pre-show issue where my voice was coming through as an echo. So if you guys are hearing any weird echo stuff or weird sound stuff, just give us a shout out and let us know if you can. But moving right along, David, you had kind of the idea for the show today. So I'm going to turn it over to you. Oh, do we do the check-in, or do you just want to roll into the topic?
I like the check-in because the check-in usually rolls in the topic. But let's introduce the topic, and then we're going to use the check-in.
That way, if anyone's got any questions or areas that they want to go with it, we can see that.
All right, cool. So yeah, I've been thinking about this because we talked about this the last time we were on, but I had a show. It was kind of more of like a fundraiser kind of thing, and I was talking about how, like, it kind of enlightened me a little bit. It was like I didn't do super well, but at the same time, it like sort of told me something about like what shows I should choose to do and shouldn't choose to do, if that makes sense. And it was like the shows that was not my audience, like 100%. Like it was like more of like one of those like crafter kind of vendor space kind of things. And the reason I got involved is just because like I knew the people kind of running it, and they knew that I sell my art kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But it made me think about that thing of like sometimes people get caught up, like you're deciding to sell your art, like you're rolling, you're flowing, you think you got a really good thing going, but then like you're not selling anything, or like people don't seem interested, you're not getting likes, like whatever you wanted to equate that to. And then it made me think of like maybe you're trying to capture the wrong people and you don't understand your brand or your audience yet. So it made me think it'd be a great topic for the show.
Awesome. I love it. I think I kind of mentioned before we started that inadvertently, I think that kind of pertains to a couple of the sidetrack things that I've been working on this week. So it'll be cool to talk about. So then starting with the check-in, where we always, this is kind of an art check show for any of you checking it out for the first time, where we do talk about different topics having to do with comic making and illustration and art, but it's also a way for David and I to kind of keep each other accountable and just keep up with each other on what we're working on. So every time we talk about our progress from the week before, the problems we encountered, and then our plans for the next week. So, David, what was your progress since last week?
Okay, so I'm going to admittedly kind of forget what I had quoted as like my goal. I know I mentioned that I was in the middle of a few commissions. I made a lot of progress on that. I'm down to just 2. I'm almost done with 1 also, so I'll be down to just 1 here in no time. Be able to focus my attention a lot more on the personal thing, which was my goal. I think, if I remember, I had kind of made the goal to make the progress of getting sort of knocking out the client work, so I could get back to my analog missions, to my current sort of comic that I'm working on. And then right now, actually, that's what I'm doing. I'm kind of in the intermediate stage. So for my random doodle, I'm just kind of play with like my robots. I'm just kind of like free sketching here. I don't have an idea in my mind. I'm just kind of playing with this until it turns into something cool today. But so yeah, that's my progress was down to just 1.5 basically commissions, and really it's like 1.25. I just got to put the finishing touches and the colors on one of mine. How about you?
Nice. So one thing I do remember now that, oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
It just reminded me as you start talking of one of your goals, I think last week was kind of trying to get yourself on a schedule of doing like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I think, on commissions, and then like a Tuesday, Thursday thing with your own work.
That's right.
Was that something that you were able to, or am I just calling you out?
No, that was it. Yeah, I did. I didn't stick to it as strictly as I should have, because sometimes I got in the zone with a certain commission I wanted to get done. But I did kind of. I'm back on the track of I'm working multiple commissions at once, and that's sort of what my comment was last week. Was that like I had realized that when I'm working on multiple things at once, I do better than when I'm just like strictly telling myself that I've got just this one thing to work on. I'm going to work it till it's done, and then I'm going to work on another thing. So yes, I did sort of fulfill my goal of getting myself on multiple tracks at once so that I could always be productive.
Cool. Well, I'm going to keep asking about that schedule thing, because I know you enjoy those sort of parameters.
Yeah, giving myself like a goal, or parameters. That's a good word for it. Is one of those ways I like to keep myself on track.
All right. Very cool. So let's see. One of the things I know I talked about was it's just writing October and getting that scripted out, not really knowing my process for really trying to write. And I'm trying to, and the best way I can, pretend to be a writer because the whole fake it till you make it thing. And I'm definitely much more on the side of being an artist who has ideas for stories and wants to make them. And I think sometimes that comes through in the storytelling of independent comics, not always in a good way, of being an artist that kind of realizes their own vision, and it kind of seems like it's something where they figure it out page to page. So I'm really trying to write the script. So that's taken me a little bit longer, because when I'm stuck in ruts, I'm trying to do all the different things that people have been talking about on the podcast that I've been listening to for years now, with researching and finding different avenues and putting things into sort of story points and beats and figuring out what different methods are. I don't know, really not trying to spin out too much on it, but really trying to learn, I guess. So it is taking me a little bit longer. I think I was hoping to start like thumbnailing and stuff this week, but I'm really not quite close to there yet. Getting a better idea of what the book's going to look like, which is good, but yeah, I just still got more writing to do. But along with that, I did get a little bit sidetracked this week. I mentioned a little bit before on a couple other projects that really the 100s has kind of given birth to. I don't think I would have come to these projects, and I don't want to be too cryptic about them, but I'm not wanting to give away too much about either one of them yet, just because I want them to be kind of cool reveals once I'm ready for them. But so I'll do my best with that as far as the topic today, because it is kind of in response to, I think, the crowd I'm around and the audience that is kind of listening to me right now. So I have been working a lot on that and buying up domain names to get websites built and things like that. So yeah, writing and doing that. Oh, and I got the digital proof back on Mr. Green's Monster Zine. Made a couple corrections, got that sent back, and yeah, encountered that. Dealt with that. So, what problems have you dealt with this week?
Problems would just be that thing of like when I get started on a thing, I get one track minded, and then I'm like trying to get it done in the zone, and then I have some free time, but then because I'm like waiting on the client to respond or something like that, I like tell myself it's free time when really I should jump over to the other project, that kind of thing. That's why I made that goal for myself, and I'm still struggling to kind of keep myself to it.
Gotcha. I guess that tunnel vision thing can lead to burnout.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. It's a weird, once again, it all comes down to balance, my friend. But yeah, just knowing how much time to spend when, I don't know, when you are focusing on one thing because you want to get it done quicker, but then it kind of can cause burnout and just staring at the project sometimes because you don't want to look at it anymore. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. That's really my only real, like, I mean, I even had like a lot more time this week than I have. Like, I feel like I'm kind of in a recovery mode of like getting back in my drawing zone and stuff. But yeah, still kind of feel like I'm washing out my drawing a little bit. From the comments, is it easy to see it on drawing here, or am I kind of like way too bright and you can't see my pencils?
No, I can see what's going on. I mean, it looks like pre-pencil work and everything, but I mean, I feel like I can see.
Cool.
I don't know. There might be parts that I'm missing, but
No, I'm gonna keep my doodles up.
cool. As far as problems for me, was just kind of that very literal that I mentioned before of getting the proof back, and there were a couple problems that I had to fix that I think I've got fixed. There's one other thing that I'm not anticipating a problem, but keeping an eye out for this other issue that I'm really kind of waiting for the hard copy proof, which if you're printing, I definitely recommend having the patience for that, because you'd be surprised how a little thing can really mess up your whole comic. So I like to have it and hold it in my hands and see what that looks like. Problems are just, I don't know, no huge problems, just the problems, I guess, of learning to write. And I'm trying not to be too precious with it and build it up too much as something too important, which I really don't think that's the problem. I just think that I want it to be a good story, and I'm trying not to just go with all of the sort of first things that come to mind. Not that I'm worried too much about cliches, because if you're doing a Halloween book, it's, you know, would be a lot of fun to play with all the cliches, you know. You kind of want some of those, but yeah, just figuring that out. I don't know. Fake it till you make it, and that's where I'm at with the writing stuff right now. But I really want to like press forward in this last, like, you know, 15 to 20 days I have left and really have something to show for it, but we'll see. How about goals, man? Where do you hoping? Where would you hope to be next week when we're talking again?
Next week, I'm 0 commissions. I am starting to tell people I am not taking commissions until the end of October, and I'm just like full on, just like playing with the comic and doing prep work for Inktober.
Very cool. You know, I'm kind of, for the first time, I think I'm, you know, I'll do some ink drawings and everything, but I don't think I'm going to be in a place where I can devote the time that it takes to like really do it, because it's hard for me to sort of like just have to it. Like if I'm gonna do it, it's like every day. Let's set aside the time and do it. But I
think becomes your, like, it's you and your representation as an artist in the thing. Like you can't just like post a bunch of half knit drawings and put your name on it.
Yeah, you know, it's like too fun of a game to like play to, I don't know. Drawing challenges can have a danger of sort of sidetracking your projects.
Yes.
Which isn't good if you're like rolling on a comic, you know, where I'm hoping to be by the time October 1st hits. And then all of a sudden I'm like, you know, make Inktober a priority. That's just going to put me behind schedule a month. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really have enough time to do it all, even though I want to. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna have to bow out of that one this year. Unfortunately, I'll be doing Halloween drawings because that's the comic I'm making. But I really just got to keep focused, I think.
No, I totally get that. That's why I'm trying to, like, I hope I can at least. It feels like a big goal from here, but like I'm making my comic my the subject of my Inktober, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, I kind of employed that tactic a bit last year, and yeah, if you can use those drawing challenges to your benefit, I mean, I think you absolutely should.
Yeah, I think I like that your idea last week of the fan Friday or whatever, and like, so I'm gonna do Monday through Thursday will be like some kind of panel or progress on a panel.
Oh and man, then, you could. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. Then Friday will be me like just doing like a one for fun.
You could even like when I was doing my fan art Fridays, I was still kind of keeping it themed in with like my brand or whatnot, which was October, or at least the pumpkin-headed character at the time, trying to have people seeing that, which I still am. So I would do like a picture of a Halloween thing with October, which was a lot of fun. Anyway, because I got to kind of keep drawing my character, so I was still like working on my craft, but still participating. Just as an idea, as you were saying that, like if you did your fan art Friday, like Freddy Krueger, but as like an Apollo sort of style robot, from your world, that could be kind of fun.
Yeah, I've thought about that. I don't know if I'm good at that because I've really thought about doing it fun, like turning things into robots or thing like that. But I just don't really know if that's my niche.
For sure. Be a fun game to play.
Yeah. And I feel that was our quickest check-in that we've ever done.
Yeah, get to it. I know that's why I feel like bad about my last 100 days. There's really not a whole lot of fun stuff to show because it's just me writing and learning and Googling and researching, all of that stuff.
Cool. Let's get into this thing then. Let's bear into the meat of it and see what happens. This is where my brain is at and my thoughts of this thing. But so I'm at the show, right? And I'm actually having a blast. I'm having fun because I don't think I've ever done like a show like this and not had fun with it, Mm-hmm. And like the guy next to me was like, he was super cool. He was a really nice dude. He was killing it. You could tell. Like he had this like sign business where like it was actually I was kind of impressed with it. He built the signs and he stenciled them. Like imagine like real like wall decor, cheesy wall decor stuff that you'd get from like a craft store, but like he like hand built it all. Like he had like done the woodwork and the stenciling.
Very cool.
So I thought it was pretty cool, but he was killing it because this was definitely his audience, and that's what made me think about it. It was like everyone there was like totally the kind of audience that like wants to come to a craft store, see Casey spray paint on a sign and put it in their living room,
Yeah.
And then I'd have them get to me, and like the people you could just tell were not my crowd, and like see me and be like, oh, this is fun. What are these robots? I don't know any of that. Are these all superheroes? Like, oh, that's real fun that you draw Superman. That's cool. And it was like when they were just like keep walking.
It's your like favorite word for describing art. That's fun.
Yeah, like, oh, these are so fun. You drew all these yourself? And it would be like, yep, thanks, ma'am. Like, whatever. But it was just like, and it didn't have me discouraged or anything. Like what? And then that's what I realized. Like I was having a blast because I always do those kinds of things. Like I love just like getting out in front of people and like that thing. I have that to my advantage. So I just really do love like putting my face in front of people.
You got a good face.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what it is, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, no, I hear you. You're a people person, and that's awesome.
Yeah. So, but the dude next to me, you could tell that like I wasn't doing super well, and he was like, he kept being like, yeah, did you? Oh, was that like, did you make the sale on that one? I'd be like, nah, that's all good. And he'd be like, oh, you'll get one, man, you'll get one. But it was like he was being super cool about it. But like in my head, I was like, it's like I'm not worried because I'm not making sales with my people. I'm just kind of like not making sales with like an audience that just like totally isn't mine anyways. Yeah. And so it made me think about just like sort of my social media presence in general and the stuff that I'm drawing and like sometimes you get tempted to draw the things that like or do certain things because of the trend and you're like, I should draw one of those too and put that on my profile so like I attract people to it. But I feel like a danger or a pitfall, whatever you want to call it, that you could fall into of that kind of thing is like if you're drawing a thing that isn't your audience because of a trend and maybe you do get one new follower or a few new followers, if you're not consistently in that world and you just jumped in for a second, they're going to be confused and be like, oh, this isn't what I signed up for, and then just like unfollow you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that person, they wouldn't have followed you in the first place, is my thought. In that case, like if you hadn't done the fan art and they just scrolled through and saw this other stuff, then they wouldn't have followed you anyway.
Yeah.
But if they see your version of fan art and that makes them interested, I don't know, you have a better chance of them at least even just never liking your thing, but staying a follower or whatnot. But I know that people can get kind of pegged down in the whole fan art thing, and I do think that this has to do with knowing your audience and everything, and how that can affect you adversely if all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm not doing that anymore. But I know I say it a lot, but once again, it's like a balance thing or whatever. Like, I don't think there's any problem with doing your completely own thing and then sometimes just doing your interpretations of fan art stuff. I think it shows through better when it's something where, like, if you're a fan of Deadpool or you went and watched the movie and you're like, holy crap, that Domino character and actress and everything, you know, the character design was just so freaking cool after you leave the movie that you do a drawing and post it. I don't think that's like a hollow thing, and I don't think it attracts a weird fan base, or I don't know. I don't worry too much about that stuff. Now, if you start going to cons or something and that's all you're doing is fan art to sell, but you want to be known as a person who has your own ideas, that's where it might start being an issue, you know, more, you know, an identity crisis there. But even in that, I think you can really sort of go to a thing like that, strongly promoting your own book and your own ideas, and then in one way or another, you know, have your version of fan art, you know, and show that, you know, I'm a nerd in this particularly fun way, and which still helps people identify with you as a human being rather quickly. And then they're excited to see your original ideas, you know. Whoa, you're a big fan of Bone? I love that book. What do you work on? Cool. I love October too, you know. I think when you use it right, it can definitely help you find your audience.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That's actually, that I love that. Like, you came at first almost like contradictory, but you actually made my point. So yeah, I 100% agree.
Like specifically, I think fan art, like I just kind of touched on the end there, like, but can help you find your weird indie audience, you know, if you're a huge fan of Aliens and you do your own kind of weird robot sci-fi stuff, it's not in any way that, like, you know, your artwork necessarily even looks like that stuff. But if someone kind of understands your taste and preferences, you know, it only makes sense that, like, your artwork might fall in line with their taste and preferences too, you know? So.
And that right there is kind of like the point I was trying to make. Not like, and because I'm thinking about this not just art wise. I'm just thinking about this just general. Like, you've got some kind of brand out there that you're trying to put out into the world, and it's like, you made the point, right? So, like, I'll use me as an example. I like my robots, right? Obviously, but another huge thing that I love is, like, it's the indie thing. Like, the prints I decide to make and the things I try to draw, I usually try to keep them out of the normal ones that you'll see at everyone else's table and stuff. Like, that's my audience and my people, is like I sift through to, like, the real obscure sci-fi stuff, the real weird stuff. Someone comes to my table and they're like, whoa, what the heck? Like, this literally isn't anywhere. Like, I can't believe you even spent the time. You're going to get this one single person who's even interested in that. Like, you know what I mean? But then it's like, for me, I end up getting like a customer for life. I end up getting a dude where he comes over to look, and he sees everything, and we have like a hour-long conversation about how awesome all of these different things are, and like I build like a super good relationship with the person, and like in the end, like I don't know how many customers I've had at a con turn into like almost like an actual friend, or like someone like a little bit closer that I would like I've had dudes message me and like come and walk my table just because of like the things that I set up through like the interactions I've had, you know, like with random people.
Yeah, Ace, as a matter of fact, in the chat mentioned that your Batman Who Laughs is how he found you, and like what kind of stood out and then made him start being interested in your Apollo stuff and your other things. Yeah. He says, Fleming's Bat Who Laughs is what pulled me in, and then I saw what else he had to offer. I think that's a great thing. Especially if on your feed it's not just, you know, if people are seeing, you know, when they finally click on your feed to see like what else you have, and they see, you know, what all you can do, exactly like you said, what else you have to offer, and like you show a smorgasbord of stuff. I think that that's a good thing.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if I'm coming across wrong. I'm trying to say it's a good thing too.
No, yeah, no, we're agreeing. I got you. I'm with you.
I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I've lost my original point of like of the topic here now, and I kind of don't even know where we're at with this anymore.
No, well, I mean, just with the idea of knowing your audience and everything, and I think I immediately, not speaking adversarial towards you, but just I feel like there's a stigma sometimes with fan art in general, and how it can peg you down and it affect you adversely and everything. And I think that carries over quite specifically into the idea of knowing your audience and making sure that you're not grooming you're doing a bait and switch, being like, yeah, I draw Superman and Wolverine and everything. Now I want you to buy this, independent comic about people's close relationships. And people are just like, wait, what? That doesn't make sense. So I do think that they relate, but yeah, I think that's just where I was coming from.
Yeah, the backlash is a good example of like I drew like that when that character design showed up, like every art channel that I follow, like someone took a stab at drawing that one for sure. And I jumped on that one because like it was like a character design that like spoke to me, if that makes sense. Like I was like, oh man, this thing is like, I can't not draw this. Like this is my thing. Like getting to play with just like a weird gnarly mouth and just like it was like all things that like I do draw. Like that I think it's a good example of it. Like that it was like that's like a little bit of a more like, if you read Batman Metal, you're a comic nerd. You're not just a casual observer of the thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't know. I really feel like I've just completely lost my point here. So I'm going to give it over to you to make some comments, and we'll play off of it.
No, I think I think I just kind of helped you beat it to death is all. One thing that I've noticed, just kind of jumping over to a different aspect, as far as being an artist, like us who are trying to get out there and promote ourselves and our art, essentially, so that people buy our art, so that we can get our ideas into people's hands, so that we can make a living. And an interesting thing that happens, which I think is both good and bad, is that a lot of artists have other artists who follow them. And obviously, having other artists follow you isn't always the best way to get quote-unquote buying customer, I guess. But the obvious upside of it is being part of the community and things like that. So, I mean, it's definitely it's not really a downside. It's just, if you look at it in terms of like business, which if you're being an independent artist and we're doing what we're doing, that is what you're doing. You're being a business. I think we're all just hoping to be like ethical business people and treat each other with respect and all that good stuff. But I found that as an interesting thing, especially through my 100 days, of the fact, and just being conscious of that like a lot of my quote unquote followers are not necessarily people who are going to be excited about buying my comic book. Not that they're not supportive and will share it around and help other people see it, which is hugely important as well. And all artists, I hope you guys know that we all know that we can't buy all of each other's books and all of each other's prints. So anytime you do share somebody else's stuff or promotion or sales things, it does help, even if you're not able to buy. I hope everyone knows that. Just a little side tangent there. But anyway, for me, it's just been like, that's why like I've got kind of this t-shirt idea and a campaign thing that I want to kind of pitch as a video here on YouTube towards the end of my 100 days, but as a way of kind of trying to make a cool product that I think is an inspirational thing to me, with what 100 days and that type of discipline can bring to you. And then kind of getting an idea about the new website that I was kind of talking about, being a little bit cryptic about. It's called indiegutter.com is the domain I bought. And so it's indie as an independent, and then gutter like comics gutter, or gutter trash, that type of thing. But my idea being indie gutter, where independent comics belong. So trying to come up with ideas where, if my audience is artists, how can I make that benefit me and them possibly? Because if a big benefit of having them as your audience is being a part of the community, then how do you make the community better, I guess? I don't know if any of that's making sense or whatnot, but that's been kind of where my brain's been at with a lot of this knowing your audience stuff.
Yeah, it's a good point to make. Like, man, I don't know, man. I feel like I'm spacing out here, and like I always like good points, but I don't know. I don't even know how to start making them. I don't know. I keep tripping over myself here.
No, it's a weird topic because it's like trying to nail egg to a wall. It's almost like trying to get to know your audience, especially I think at our level here, where we're really at the beginning of it. It does kind of go inside with like, well, what exactly are you offering to people? What are you wanting to offer? What are you wanting to be known as? What's your style? Which is like a whole nother, like, so it's kind of not surprising to me that it's something that we're kind of stumbling over because in a lot of ways, not that we're amateurs, but we're novice in a lot of ways. So we're learning these things. And it's like, for me, a lot of times it's hard to even find the right questions to ask. It's like there's YouTube and there's all these artists and you can share and ask questions, but especially even stuff like this, it's like it's a whole question of branding and your logo and where you're putting your artwork and who's seeing it and when they're seeing it. And I don't know, it's a tough subject because it's sort of all encompassing, you know. It's our whole goal and what we're doing centers around an audience. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's not easy.
Yeah, I think there's just like a weird, like, I don't know. Now I'm doing it myself again here. Like, I guess I just see a lot, or I hear a lot, or I talk to people like at conventions, like, and they're talking to me about my table display or something that I'm doing, and like things they say are like they contradict themselves in terms of like, yeah, I want to be all books, and then they're like, what are you drawing? Oh, I'm making this print right now, and you're like, oh, well, shouldn't you be making books? And you're like, I want to do this specific thing. I don't know.
You know that's a great point. I mean, if you're wanting, and that's one thing we touched on is like if you're wanting to be known as someone that makes your own comic books, then you really need to be devoting your time towards that because there's all these different avenues you can take. You can spend all your time doing fan art, and that can make you a lot more money. But if that's not your goal, then it's a little bit of a waste of time doing that, you know? So,
right.
I don't know. To know someone else, you must know thyself, I guess, you know, and if you want to figure out what's my brand, I guess that's the first thing you start with, I guess, is like, what's the point of what you're doing, you know? Are you wanting to make a living off of going to Comic-Cons, which having a good shtick or thing in fan art or some sort of footing in that would be really good to have? Are you wanting to be an independent person that is just kind of churning out your own idea factories just so you can have your name on a book by yourself that says, I completed this whole thing all by myself? Do you want to be part of a community? You know, like all of those things are questions I think that we, not even advice for other people, but maybe advice for ourselves, David, is start asking yourself those questions, you know? I don't know, for me, I want to be a cartoonist and an illustrator. And knowing that, then I know how I can approach fan art, you know?
Right.
Then I know it just doesn't have to be do a bust of every character I can so that it looks nice and uniform and makes sense behind you on a wall at a convention, which all that is good marketing and a great thing to do, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, like you made a good point. I don't just want to make comics or books or whatever you want to, like, you said illustrator. I think it was a good point. And even like the comic I'm writing now, I'm trying to break from the tradition of like it's gonna have panels and it's gonna be like a comic per se, but it's gonna also be a little different. And I'm gonna go in my own direction with it. Like more than anything, I love illustrating. I love creating like a story with just one single image more than I like building a series of panels to do it. If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And so I make tons of prints and I get people super attracted to my print aesthetic because like what I really want is to have like my IPs and my cool books and stories, but I also want like awesome images that belong to that same thing too, that are just like single awesome illustrations that tell more stories that people love to buy as well.
Heck yeah, and all that stuff, you know, and sometimes just having another artist, just like what David and I are doing right now, to be like, what do you really want out of this whole thing? Like, what are you going for? And saying out loud rather than just like sitting in your head. We've talked about it with like when you're writing or concepting out stuff, like just thinking about it is like one level of brain activity. Writing stuff down is another level, and speaking it out and having a conversation is yet like another way to really kind of figure stuff out. And for me, I think it's been a, you know, not wanting to put the cart before the horse, you know, just wanting to kind of work on craft and figure out how to get ideas out and everything. But it is getting to the point now where just through, you know, we're putting ourselves out there. When that happens, people start having questions. You know what I mean? You start looking like an idiot. You're like, I don't know, I'm just trying to draw pictures, you know? So it really does, you know, I'm getting to a point where I have to start really asking, you know, what do you want out of this? And that's where I think this website that I'm trying to do, and like the t-shirt idea and just some different, you know, side hustles and things like that is me figuring out, you know, that I want to be a cartoonist who gets my own ideas across. That, you know, I want to be able to make amusing and fun illustrations and put that to work in making products. You know what I mean? So
yeah, definitely.
Keep doing that and hopefully start seeing some audience trends. But yeah, that is where I'm at with that whole, like, you know, we have a lot of artists following us, and I hope people stay tuned. I'm talking about it a lot, but I have this kind of what's your 100 t-shirt idea that I want to do that does pertain to, you know, the comics thing in general, but just I don't know, I just think it could be a good thing for anybody out there, and the way of learning new stuff. Like I said, I want to do like a whole video presentation thing behind it and then have the t-shirt for sale. And it'll be for sale in a way where it's not like a maximized profit thing. I just think it's kind of a cool idea and can be one of those sort of inspiring sort of things that keeps you, you know, moving towards a goal that I think is important. But those ideas, you know, have come directly out of, you know, the 100 days and seeing who's paying attention and why they're paying attention. And, you know, it's not just trying to have an idea that caters to an audience, but, you know, it's not a bad idea to try to figure out how to make something that people want.
Right. It's a good way of putting it. Mike, the highest quality of awesome art in book with the wrong subject matter can, like, you'd be like, why does anybody want my thing? And you'd be like, I don't know, because no one wants zombie high school kid. I don't know, you know, I'm just like thinking of like a genre that's like really popular right now, you know, like,
yeah,
like you've done the wrong variation of this thing and you don't have anybody who cares.
Yeah.
And then like not to really, like, not to sell yourself short thinking that your quality is wrong when it's just your subject or something, you know.
Ace had an interesting idea with your idea, building off of your comment before about making an image with, you know, sometimes even no words to just kind of force, you know, a story. And he said, no words, just images. Or he says, boom, no words, November.
Oh my gosh.
Tell a story with nothing but an image. That could be a fun way too to like use that for crowd participation and
right.
A way to get to know your crowd. Actually, this could all go into this whole thing. So if you post an image, kind of like what I did with the Mr. Green's Monster Zine, where I posted an image, but then I told a story. Just post a weird image that, you know, obviously there's something behind this, but then just sort of like prompt your audience and like, okay, what's this guy's name? What's his story? You know, maybe do one of those where you do the first sentence and then go, all right, who's taking the next sentence? See if you could start a trend that way. And that'd be fun because you get to know people's tastes and things that they like and their creativity and get some interaction on your site.
Yeah, I just like the idea of telling a full, like writing a whole comic of an illustration of a book that just like writes its whole self all the way through with no words at all.
I love that too, but how much fun would it be to like also have one like where you do all the images with like nowhere, or like, I don't know, have like a crowd participation, sort of write the book.
That's dumb. I hate that idea.
What? It'd be like that whole Axe Cop thing.
Yeah, I know. I was totally just messing with you.
No, I think you should just once in a while take a stance like that. No, that's wrong. You're stupid. That's ridiculous. You're lucky no one else heard that. Oh wait.
Axe Cop. All right, let's do a plug for somebody else while we're in that zone. If anybody else has ever heard of Axe Cop, you need to look that up right now. It is the best webcomic that exists, and it's written by. Man, it's been forever since I've read it, so I don't remember. It's like his 5-year-old niece or something writes it, and then he illustrates it, and it is hilarious because you just imagine a little kid telling a story, and he'd be like, "And there's this guy, and he's actually not a guy; he's a dinosaur." And like, it's just like, oh my gosh, one of the best ideas to just like take almost like bad writing, but like make fun illustrations out of it.
Well, yeah, it's like illustrating a single person's choose your own adventure thing, but that's why I think it could be a fun. I like those weird kind of concept ideas behind making products or whatever. And if you made a bunch of images and then people sort of, gave inspiration as to where the story goes or how it plays out, and you sort of illustrate along with that, just like Rao's book, just image and story on the page to page. Could be cool. You got to come up with new ideas to make comics, new ways.
Who was it? I brought up the scroll. Remember our scroll comic idea?
Yes.
I brought that up to somebody. I can't remember what it was, and they were talking about like when you go to like a football game. Apparently, like there's like a thing that you pull out, and it's like basically like a handheld little thing. And it's like go team or whatever, and it like rolls back up.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, and like so it's like that would be like that, like the mechanism of portability of the idea of like as you pull it out, it tells the story thing.
I love it, dude. Yeah, we really need to do that before someone else does.
And I just made it public now too, so the 12 people who watch this are totally gonna steal it.
You bastards, we're coming for you. That actually has with this website idea that I have with Indie Gutter. That's been kind of a thing with that too. Is in the past, and we've all been these people at times and known people at times who have ideas and then just like, well, I don't know how I would ever do that, so it's just an idea. And then like a couple years later, they're like, man, that thing I invented, they always say that thing I invented
right,
is for sale at the gas station. What the hell? Someone stole my idea. Even if they did, man, you didn't make it. So that's where I think this website thing can be cool. I've told you a little bit about it, and I think it can be cool for the community and for artists and for comic buyers and stuff. I'm really excited about it, but I'm trying not to say too much. But I did go around buying that domain name like everywhere, and I couldn't believe Indie Gutter was not taken.
It would be hilarious to get like an email from somebody like tomorrow and be like, I've noticed you started buying Indie Gutter. I actually would like to that.
I know, right? Well, have you seen that that's like a whole big business? I did one of my videos on that, but I learned that night because I went to actually buy Indie Spinner, as in like comic book spinner racks.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just reading more of Ace's comments in the comments there. Oh man, what was I talking about? Ace, you sidetracked me.
Indie Spinners.
Oh, Indie Spinner. So when I got on GoDaddy to buy that, it said that I could buy it, but for like almost $3,000. Whereas if I bought like indiespinner.co or .gov or .whatever, not gov, but all these other ones,
yeah,
it would only be 99 cents. And then it had a number that I could call with questions. So I called it because you know me.
Yeah.
Talk to humans, I should make that a t-shirt or a sticker. Talk to humans.
Humans.
Writing it down. People don't do that enough. Just talk to humans. So I called this dude, and he was really informational. I was like, what's the deal with a $3,000 website? And people, and you might already know this, like I said, but will buy things that they think are people will want. Like they'll buy tractor.com if it exists. And then when John Deere comes along and wants to purchase tractor.com and someone else already owns it, but they're not building a website with it,
Right.
they'll, buy them out for a whole bunch of money. Like one guy this year bought one for $500 from somebody and then turned around and sold it for like 50,000 or I don't know, some crazy amount like that. And I just thought, what an interesting racket.
You're saying you're getting out of the art business and into the domain buying business.
Exactly. So now, yeah, I'm making a rat, the kind of mascot for Indie Gutter. And yeah, I think it could be cool. I couldn't, but like, it's like I'd rather be drawing, man. I really can't believe. You have this idea sometimes too. I think out there, everyone that I don't know if other people get this, but you have an idea and you're like, oh, someone's already probably thought of it. If I thought of it, surely someone else has. Well, sometimes it's not always the case, and when you get a good idea, just go for it.
I really can't believe we got I'd rather be drawing. Every time I get on that, I'm like, man, how is someone in the world not? Like, even if it's like not even like a popular thing and some random dude just bought it and then never did anything with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I mean, there's like I'd rather be like everything else out there.
Yeah.
But it wasn't drawing, and with that being such a big trend these days of there being so many, I don't know, comic creators and artists and everybody out there, I like it.
Yeah.
That's another one. I think we're at some point, we'll let you guys know, but we do think it's a good name and we think it's a good motto as well. And that's another one where with that, David and I have talked about how with artists being, in our audience, I'd rather be drawing is one of those things. It's like keep calm and carry on or whatever. Like instead of doing that, I'd rather be drawing. I'd wear a t-shirt that said that even if I wasn't affiliated with it. So, the idea where it's like, well, maybe we should come up with a t-shirt for our website because it's not just, scottogreen.com. Who wants to wear that shirt? But a lot of people would probably want to wear I'd rather be drawing. Like, that's funny. That's true. That's, angry cat at a Christmas party. I'd rather be drawing. It's great.
That's it. That's the first shirt.
I'm just saying it's like commercialable.
Yeah.
Commercialable.
Commercialable.
Yeah. We are kind of getting towards the end, and I appreciate you guys I don't know if you've got any other closing stuff. I was just going to say I'm not closing off, but appreciate you guys hanging out with us. It is kind of a not bizarre topic, but a hard one to get to wrap your mind around, especially when we're still at the really kind of building our audience stage and finding out what sort of people are coming along for this ride.
Yeah, I feel like I've dropped it on this one, and I had a lot of really cool stuff to talk about, but I'm like just sitting here like blank-minded as I'm like, I know I have like 1,000 points to make, but I don't know how to make them or how to get them started.
Well, that's why we do this stuff, is to learn and keep trying to figure out and focus those ideas. And like I said, one of my biggest things is there's all this access to, other artists and places where you can ask questions, but to an almost embarrassing extent sometimes that I think isn't good. Like I don't know the right questions to ask sometimes. So just having conversations like this where you fumble through not knowing how to say it, but, like right now, for instance, I think those are always helpful. Like I said, when you voice stuff and talk things out loud, it helps. Whether you're dealing with depression or trying to work out a math problem or whatever, it helps to kind of define it.
I was calling you for my math problems.
Do what?
I mean, I said, I think you're getting fed up by now. Like, I'm always calling you for my math problems. Like,
I know. If a train is going at 60 miles per hour, stop taking the train, David.
If I leave right now, when will I get to your house? That's all I want to
know. What's the airspeed velocity of
a European swallow?
African or European? I don't know that. Oh, classic. But I'm going to say I hope you guys stay tuned for indiegutter.com and for What's Your 100. I'm trying not to let those things sideline my 100 days of making comics, but like I said, it's one of those things where You got to strike while the iron's hot. And yeah, if you got ideas, you got to make them, right? I don't know how to make T-shirt logos or T-shirt designs, so learn by doing.
So I will get a lot of hitting up on that one, right?
Yeah. I'm probably going to start actually sending you more pictures and stuff like that, and just getting ideas. Font and things like that don't come naturally to me, so like I said, I just started kind of writing out concepts behind it and going with that. But yeah, I would definitely love your input or ideas on how to make it, you know, a design or logo thing that pops on a shirt.
Love it. Shirts definitely needs to happen though. That's in the very near future, guys. Like we've talked about that extensively with each other and played with some design.
It's just too good to pass up. And I want one. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Like I want to at every con I need to be wearing a shirt that says that, because like that's awesome.
Yeah, it really is. I do kind of feel like the logo itself is awesome too, but also just saying it clear as day. I don't know. That's a whole nother. Yeah. But thank you, Red. Thank you, Ace. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Everyone else that comes in and joins, like I said, I am on my 100 Days of Making Comics. If it's not here on our YouTube channel, you can also find me over on IGTV and Instagram at Mr. Green Draws, mr.greendraws. How about you, David? If you're not here, where can we find you working your magic?
Just once again, Instagram, man. I go to Art of Mr. Fleming on Instagram or Mr. David Fleming on Facebook. I don't try to spread myself super thin with being all over the place all the time, because then I feel like I don't post like consistently, but I can keep it up if I don't spread it thin. So check out those two places. You'll see weird Pope robots and cool, unique spins on fan art.
Pope robots. I saw that earlier. That's awesome. And everybody out there, your homework for the night is to go set up your link tree. Go get that done so the next time we talk, we can all be like, thank you, David, for teaching us about Linktree. He really enjoys that. So
wait, that's my plug. They should pay me for this, right? Here's my plug again.
Linktree, making it happen.
They will all go to one place, and then all of your adoring fans will never ask where to find you.
I know. How annoying is it to go, well, on Facebook, it's Scott_Green, and then over here, it's Mr. Scott with a hashtag idiot Linktree.
Yeah. I have to throw it at Ace here. It was him. He was the one who brought up the scroll idea.
Really?
Yeah, he said thanks for getting me, a-hole.
Oh, that's awesome. I was wondering what the a-hole kid. That's what sidetracked me before, is I saw you get called an a-hole, and I was just like, he is an a-hole. I don't know what he's talking about, but you're right. A-hole. Here's my little rat I'm working on for Indie Gutter. Playing with that.
Show it up. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. No, I didn't see it. It's there for a second.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if it's really. I got to figure out a camera in here. We're on, which we want to mention as well. This is episode 12 of I'd Rather Be Motivated. So we're here to stay. We're on a roll with the check-ins. We're keeping it religious and regimented. So we appreciate you guys for staying tuned on our adventure here. So thank you guys very, very much.
So let's wrap this up then. I know we did our little plugs, but I just wanted to, I feel like the thing that brought me to like the topic in the first place was just like, I have the uncanny ability to always look positively at every single situation in the world, but most people don't. And we talk about this a lot, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're jumping in, you're trying to be an artist, you're trying to do the thing you love, podcast, whatever it is, and it just doesn't seem like it's working for you. I just feel like seek out a different audience or a different platform. Like don't think you're like it's. I think a lot of times you sell yourself short. Like I've seen it all the time. I've seen dudes' Instagram profiles with like 500 followers, and like their art blows my mind, and I follow them and I give them props, and they're like, I'll get a message from them and they'll be like, thanks so much for that, and they're like, I don't know why you don't have the 10K, you know what I mean? Like you're like mind blowing how good some people are, but they're like, not getting in front of the right people. And that's it. Like, you got to know your brand. You got to stay consistent. You got to post every day, and you got to find your people because they're out there.
Word.
Feels like there's millions to billions of people who can access the internet now. Like, there's so much of an audience that's split up, like, and divided, that like, your indie thing can be a reality. So there it is. There's my inspirational speech for the night.
I love it. Yeah, I think one of the main points is to find your audience, which is important. If you're not figuring it out, is you got to hustle, which really means just get your stuff in front of a lot of different people and throw spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks. You know, don't be afraid to go to an arts and crafts fest if you think there's a chance that, or it's just a good experience to get out there and meet people. Like, check it out and see what's happening, because you never know. You know, who's really going to key off on your stuff. So just make sure as many people as you can are seeing what you're doing.
Beautiful. All right. Well, thanks a lot for everybody who tunes in. Spread the word. Tell your friends. Let's. I feel like we get a pretty good chunk of people who see us after the fact, but it's really fun having you guys in here. So try to invite a friend next week. And it's good to get the chat going. It's really fun when we have that as an aspect to play off of.
I agree. And yeah, also, if you guys have any questions, please throw them at us. We like coming up with stuff to talk about, but hearing what you guys are interested in is always interesting as well, because we learn from all of it. So if you guys have questions, whether you're listening now or later, about tonight's episode, any episode, things you might like us to touch on, and we can even let you know when we're going to talk about that episode, so you can be there in the chat to talk with us about it. So let us know if we can help.
All right. That sounds like a good time as any. All right, guys. Peace to the out. We outie.